Welcome to the Sisters of the Shire Podcast. This is Ashley.
And I'm Abby. Oh, how have you been?
I've been all right. You know, I appreciated the week off that we had. I had some things to take care of. So yes. I appreciate our fan base understanding that. But, you know, we didn't leave you empty-handed. You know, we gave you an awesome episode with our friend Brian.
Which was pretty fun. That was a fun episode to record.
I love Peter Pan.
Did you guys get as much snow as we did?
We got some. It was very random and sporadic. And it's like ice, snow, sun, ice, snow, sun.
Tornado. Yeah, we had 2 snow days in a row. So we got a 4-day weekend with the kids. That was fun.
Nice. Well, if anyone wants to know the story of what's been going on that I had to take last week off, I mean, I shouldn't have to explain myself to you, but I'm going to because I feel the need to. So
I was worried about the snow with her going. That's why I was asking.
Oh, that's part of the story.
Yeah.
So my daughter, Lizzie, she was born with very, very, very mild, but it's technically cerebral palsy. It doesn't really affect her other than her limbs are just, the muscles are a bit tighter than they should be. So she has to wear an orthotic brace, and she goes to PT, and sometimes, like in this instance, she has to have injections of Botox into her muscles to help them relax because they're just so tight. So that was the appointment that we had, that I couldn't comprehend that and recording and prepping an episode. Like, I just was focused solely on that appointment and worrying about it. I mean, she did great. It's just, it's a huge needle going into my daughter's leg. And I just was like, I need to be at like 100% for her. And it was like this whole thing. So the day of the appointment comes and it snows all that morning, all that night.
That's what I was like, oh no.
So what's funny is my mom, bless her heart, has been driving us to these appointments, partially because Lizzie gets car sick and it's nice to have a second pair of hands when that happens. But also just so that when we get to the appointment, I'm not stressed from the drive. I'm just there at 100% ready to take on the appointment with Lizzie. So she wakes up that morning and everything is ice or snow or road closed, and she's like Googling the heck out of everything, which I appreciated so much because I wouldn't even know where to have started. And she's like, okay, here's the plan. We're going to take this ferry and I'm going to pick you up, and then we're going to go this way and this way because this road's closed. Like, she had it all figured out.
But we're going to put on snowshoes and then we're going to hide here.
So she starts driving to my house to pick me up, and the road right in front of my house is closed.
Oh, no. And you live on a hill.
My driveway is a hill, and the road in front is a decently busy road, but that was the road that was closed. But what's funny is she was able to get to almost my house. Like, the road was closed from one end to one end, and she was stuck at one end because there were cones in the way. She's like, I can see your mailbox.
She's a plow.
I'm so close. So I'm like, all right, we're doing this thing. So I get my boots on. I pick up Lizzie. I got a backpack on full of all of her crap for the hospital. I carry her, and we walk through the snow to my mom's car.
You should have.
I get there and I'm like drenched. I get there and I'm like drenched in sweat, and I'm like, okay. It was fine where like the hospital was, but like just in our particular area, it just was like, we're just going to make your life a little bit difficult here.
Yeah.
So she got her appointment done. She did great. I do have to tell one funny story, though. So they had a child life specialist. I know that's like your dream job.
It is my dream job.
And she was really sweet with Lizzie. So she pulled out this book. And it's a Bluey Seek and Find. I'm like, you have chosen the right book, my friend. Like, that was... But she didn't know a ton about it because, you know, she's not a mom that's memorized all of the episodes like I have.
See, this is why I'd be perfect for the job. Anyway.
Oh, I know you would. So she like pulls open the book and she's like asking Lizzie, like, hey, what's that person's name? What's that person's name? And, you know, Lizzie, of course, knows all the answers. And then the lady asks, well, what's Bluey's last name? What kind of dog are they? And I'm like, oh, they're healers. And Lizzie goes, no, mommy, it's Gila. She thinks the last name is Gila because that's how they say it because they talk with an Australian accent.
I blame it on Lucky's dad. Oh, Mrs. Gila.
Yeah. But I just thought that was so funny. Like,
that's
it's not
adorable.
Healer. It's Gila.
That's so cute.
I was so confused at first. I'm like, what do you... Oh.
Oh, that's so cute. So, I love it.
Yeah. So that was my week last week. But how was your week?
Like I said, we got a super cool 4-day weekend. Cool as in we got snowed in. For 4 days. That was pretty fun. And then it snowed yesterday too, which was crazy because they didn't close school and I had to take the kids to school in snow clothes because it was snowing so hard when I took them. They didn't cancel school or make me pick them up early. So I guess there was some like contention at recess because they have a huge open field, and so there was a lot of snow people out there that were made from children during recess. And there was a lot of sadness. My friend's a teacher over there, and she was telling me that like the kids didn't want to come in from recess because they didn't want like older kids coming and kicking down their snowmen or them melting.
And they would too.
Yeah, I know. And so she's like, they came up to me and they're like, can you just like go stand guard of our snowmen? She's like, no, I have to come in and actually like work at the school. I can't stay outside in the cold guarding your snowmen.
That's adorable.
So it's been pretty fun because where we live, we don't get a lot of snow, or even sometimes some years we don't get any snow. So it's been pretty fun that the kids have had some snow days finally. And we went sledding, and our friend has a really epic hill as their driveway. And so we went sledding over there. And
nice.
But of course, I was cleaning up the house today. And what did I find? I found my youngest baby, who's almost 2, his snowsuit that we couldn't find for him to actually wear in the snow. I found it today when it's so sunny outside and there's no snow, and it's not going to fit him next year when he actually has to probably wear. I was so mad. I texted my husband. I'm like, of course I find it today when I couldn't find it when we actually needed it.
I hate buying snow clothes for my child because like the minute I buy it, there's no snow. And then it's not going to fit them the next year. Or I think, oh, I'm going to be so smart and I'm going to buy it like a size bigger. And then it's too big. Then I just can't time it right.
It's a curse. The snow clothes curse.
Actually, we're going to be talking about some snow today. But first we have to recap. How much do you remember?
I remember, is it Turin?
Turin? Yeah.
He is a human man. That's what I have to keep reminding myself because he's with elves all the time that I forget that he is a like mortal person, like a man.
He's a man. A man.
And he is like a sad orphan, not orphan, but like anyway, so he's like emo and depressed, and he accidentally is around someone who jumps off a cliff, and then he's like, that was my fault, I murdered him, and they're like, no you didn't, and he's like, yes I did, I'm a horrible person, and then he runs away and he joins a gang called the
Wolfmen.
Oh yeah, the Wolfmen. And his best friend, which I think is so nice, like went out and traveled for over a year to try to find him, to be like, dude, everything's okay. Like you can come back. No one's mad at you. We figured out what happened and you're not in trouble at all. He's like, you'll never understand. I'm a killer. And he's like, no, dude, you're not. And he's like, leave me alone. And he runs away. And then,
oh, you forgot his first name change. Do you remember his first name change? Turin's first name change?
oh, it was
Remember, it's like my husband's name.
Nathan.
So my husband's name is Nathan, but they spell it really weird. It's like Nathan.
Nathan.
Nathan the Wronged.
The Wronged, that's right. It sounds like if Hot Topic had a name generator machine
that would be
on their website for your MySpace. That
sounds perfect. Yeah.
That's how he got that name.
Here is your Elvish name, Nathan. And here is your emo Hot Topic goth name, The Wronged.
Yeah. That's why he gets different names. He changes his MySpace so much. And he changes his song on his MySpace every time.
Don't want the world to see me.
Yeah. Because I don't think that they'd understand. And then his friend went back, right? And he's like, dude, come on. You're fine. And then that's all I can remember for now, but I feel like I'm missing something.
Actually not bad. So Bellic does find Turin after a year. He tries to get Turin to come back by telling him, we just need you to help fight the orcs. No one has your manly muscles. Like, only you can do it.
Yeah.
And Turin is still just throwing himself a pity party. Can't do it. And he's like, well, actually, Bellic, would you stay here? And Bellic's like, no, I actually do need to fight the bad orcs. So he leaves for the Forest of Brethel, where the main orcs are infiltrating. And Turin's like, well, you're going to go there. I'm going to go in this direction. It just goes in the complete opposite direction that Bellic's going to go. But before Bellic goes to the Forest of Brethel, he goes back to Menegroth and kind of gives Thingol an update. Okay, here's what happened with Turin. And King Thingol's like, what more can I do? I pardoned him. He refused my friendship basket. I just don't know what more I can do.
Yeah, he brought it back.
So Bellic's like, okay, I'll find him again, and you know what? I'll guide him, just make sure he makes good of his life. We don't want our boy being wasted. Yeah. So Thingol's like, thank you so much. You know what? Do you want a present? I'll give you anything you want, except my own sword. But you can have anything else that you want. So Bellic chooses Anglicel, or Iron of the Flaming Star, because it was made from a meteorite. And this meteorite actually made 2 swords, both crafted by our dark elf friend, Ael, or as we call him, Ahol. Ael kept 1 sword for himself, which is now his son Maeglin's. And the other sword Ael had given to Thingol to pay to live on his land. And all that we kind of know about this sword is that there's like a dark vibe happening here. It's kind of like how the ring just has this like dark whispering about it.
Does it have a thrall?
Maybe. So as Thingol hands the sword over to Bellic, all of a sudden Melian gets a vision and says, there is malice in this sword. The dark heart of the smith still dwells in it. It will not love the hand it serves, neither will it abide with you long. And so despite this ominous warning, Bellic still takes it along with him, and Melian even gives him some limbus. First mention of limbus.
First time. I would love to see like a new movie that kind of has that, not a movie of this, but has that story arc of the weapon itself is evil.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like corrupting people. It's kind of like the new Thor movie. Did you see the new Thor movie?
No, I'm getting there.
There's a sword that corrupts somebody in it.
Oh.
I don't think it's exactly like that. Like, it doesn't like turn him into like a rotting kind of zombie.
Right. It doesn't turn him into a golem.
Yeah, but it's like it kind of is the sword itself is the problem. Like, I would like to see that. Like, that would be a different kind of fantasy trope, was the word maybe, to like a movie that we haven't seen.
Yeah. So Bellic goes to the Forest of Brethel with his new sword, and his sword is very happy to be unsheathed as he uses it to kill all the orcs there. And then once the fighting is over, Beleg leaves to look for Turin. And that's where we left off things.
Okay, I wasn't that far. I wasn't that.
No, you were pretty spot on. I just needed to get the sword part in there.
The creepy sword.
So, creepy sword. So after Beleg and Turin had parted ways, Turin led his gang in search of new digs. Apparently, the gang had held a vote. You know, they were just getting tired of always being on the move, always having to be hidden, always being on their guard. They just wanted a safe place to relax and to be in a gang. You know, one might suggest actually like settling down, you know, maybe finding some land to farm, meeting a nice girl, raising a family. You know, you wouldn't have to be on your guard if you weren't doing bad stuff. But, you know, they didn't mean quite that. They just wanted to relocate their lair. So one evening, probably as they were drawing up plans for their dream lair and discussing paint swatches, they happened upon 3 dwarves. Now, when the dwarves realized that they had been spotted by Turin's wolfmen gang, they immediately bolted. However, there was one dwarf that unfortunately wasn't quite as fast as his friends. Like that thing, you just need to be faster than your slowest friend.
I don't assume dwarves have like speed on their side.
Well, apparently they're natural sprinters.
Oh, yeah.
Very dangerous over the short distances. So this dwarf was immediately caught and thrown to the ground. Meanwhile, one of the wolfmen shot off an arrow towards the other 2 dwarves as they ran off into the dark. But Turin and his men decide to let those dwarves go, wanting to get to know their new dwarf friends that they caught a little bit better. So this dwarf is named Meme. And I might call him Mim because it is literally spelled M-I-M. But apparently it's supposed to be pronounced meme. But I just want to throw it out there. Could be Mim too.
Mad Madam Mim.
Yes. That's a very interesting image in my brain. So Meme immediately starts begging for his life. And he even offers to lead Turin and his gang to his hidden halls in exchange for letting him live. And apparently these hidden halls are, of course, I don't know, hidden and hard to find. And only Meme and his company know the way. And this is when Turin is like, wait, you have a lair that is hidden? And you were willing to take us to it? How did you? We were just looking for one. What a coincidence. It's like, wait, where is it? And Mim's like, it's on a hill called Amon Rood. He's like, and that's where I wanted to go anyway. Perfect.
Oh my gosh, I love that neighborhood.
The schools there are great. So the next day, they all
super close to a grocery store. I love it.
That's my favorite Starbucks.
Costco.
So the next day, they all set out and follow Meme to Amon Rood. Quote, now that hill stood upon the edge of the moorlands that rose between the vales of Sirion and Narog. Remember, those are the 2 kind of main rivers in West Beleriand. And high above, it reared its crown, but its steep gray head was bare, save for the red saragon that mantled the stone. So I kind of imagine a moorland. So I think of like almost every period film I've ever watched that's set in England, especially one of my favorites, beyond favorites, Pride and Prejudice. When she's like walking through the countryside where it's mainly like a lot of heather, a lot of kind of like grasslands, not developed at all. And then it's these like mountains of just bare rock. But on this bare rock, there's this red saragon. And saragon, or blood of stone, as it's what it stands for, is a plant. And it's noted for its deep blood red flowers. The modern day equivalent would be something called stone crop for you botany people. And it basically grows in low clumps on the face of rocks, and it produces bright clusters of flowers. So just these red flowers that grow on rock, basically.
Okay. It's like their tell of where their location is these red flowers.
Yes, because as far as I know, this is the only time that it's mentioned, but it's a tad ominous because, quote, "And as the men of Turin's band drew near, the sun broke through the clouds and fell upon the crown," like the top of the hill, "and the Saragon was all in flower. Then one among them said, 'There is blood on the hilltop.'"
Oh.
Yeah.
One of the dwarves or one of the men said that?
One of the men. One of the men in Turin's gang said that. Yeah.
All right.
So, ignoring that ominous comment, Mime leads Turin and his men through various secret paths until they reach the mouth of a cave, where Mime stops, bows down to Turin, and says, quote, "Enter into the house of ransom, for so it shall be called." Then, all of a sudden, a dwarf from within the cave comes to them with a torch. He speaks to Mime, and then they both quickly go further into the cave. Turin and his men quickly follow until they come to a room far within the cave lit by lamps. And there they find Mime kneeling before the dead body of a dwarf. And Mime is crying, wailing, and tearing at his beard. Turin comes up to Mime and asks, "What can I do to help? And what's wrong?" And Mime looks up to him and says, quote, "You can give no aid, for this is Keem, my son, and he is dead, pierced by an arrow."
Oh no!
Turin, feeling pity for Mime, says to him, quote, "Alas, I would recall that shaft if I could. Now, house of ransom, this house shall be called in truth. And if ever I come to any wealth, I will pay you a ransom of gold for your son in token of sorrow, though it gladden your heart no more."
Oh.
Yeah. So Mime stands up and he just kind of gives Turin a long look. And then he says, quote, "I hear you. You speak like a dwarf lord of old, and at that I marvel. Now my heart is cooled, though it is not glad. And in this house you may dwell, if you will, for I will pay my ransom." So I don't quite understand, this dynamic. It wasn't, we were enemies. I paid for my life. Now you killed my son. Oh, I'm sorry I killed your son. I just don't understand.
Oh, okay, wait. Did I skip over who killed his poor son?
So remember when they found him, one of them shot off an arrow.
Oh, so he did hit him.
Random arrow. Yeah, ended up hitting someone. Yeah.
But then he made it all the way back to the place. Oh no.
Yeah. So kind of his fault, kind of not his fault, but it just shows this. I don't understand, I guess, the dynamic of well, what were you going to do anyway if he hadn't have ransomed this house? I don't know. It just is a weird dynamic to me.
Yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't have been throwing arrows then, okay?
Yeah.
If you were just going to feel this bad about it. But Mime is letting them live there because he's paying his ransom. I'm holding up my end of the bargain. I said you guys could live here. So this is where Turin and his wolfmen live now. And as they live there, Turin often finds himself at the mouth of the cave. And for some reason, he keeps looking towards the same place. He's looking towards the forest of Brethel. And more specifically, within the forest of Brethel, there's a special hill called Amun Obel. And, quote,
"What does Amun mean?"
I think it means hill.
Okay.
Because Amun Rud is another hill. So,
okay.
I assume. This isn't something we're going to find out about right now, but it's just kind of a foreshadowing that his eyes were just continually drawn to this specific place, but we're not going to find out about it till later.
Okay.
But, quote, "And thither his eyes were drawn ever and again, and he knew not why." Ominous.
Mystery.
Yes. So remember that for later. In the meantime, life for Turin was pretty slow and easy, and when he wasn't staring at Amun Obel, he spent his time talking with Mime, learning about his life and the lore of his people, because Meme wasn't your ordinary dwarf. He was a special dwarf.
He was blonde.
Well, special might not be a good word for it.
He had platinum blonde hair.
No, kind of the opposite. Quote, "For Meme came of dwarves that were banished in ancient days from the great dwarf cities of the east. And long before the return of Morgoth, they wandered westward into Beleriand. But they became diminished in stature and in smithcraft, and they took to lives of stealth, walking with bowed shoulders and furtive steps." So I kind of picture Thrain, Thorin's dad from the Hobbit movie, when he's prisoner of Sauron and Dol Guldur, just how he's kind of like hunched over and kind of like almost like Gollum, just kind of not your broad, strong dwarf, but this kind of like hunched over creature. So
is it like they were captured? No, separated?
Separated. So they kind of evolved on their own.
But they didn't get all the like smithing and mining.
No, that
talent.
I think that kind of got forgotten along the way because, and here, let me continue here. Quote, "Before the dwarves of Nogrod and Belagost," those are our two main dwarf clans that we know of right now in Beleriand. So before they came over west, over the mountains, the elves of Beleriand knew not what these others were, and they hunted them and slew them. But afterwards, they let them alone, and they were called the petty dwarves.
Oh, no.
Yeah, what a random dark side of elves that we don't usually hear about. Like, here's this little creature that seems small and defenseless. Let's kill it.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
No.
Quote, "They loved none but themselves, and if they feared and hated the orcs, they hated the Eldar no less, and the exiles, the Noldor, most of all. For the Noldor, they said, had stolen their lands and their homes." So to kind of put this plainly, these petty dwarves were living most likely with one of the first ever dwarf clans, like awoken, made by Aule himself, dwarf clans, far in the east, across the mountains. Then, after they were banished, for what reason I would love to know, they came over the mountains into Beleriand, where we have been for the last, I don't know how many chapters. However, the elves that lived here, based on the timeline, I would assume it would be the Teleri that didn't go to Valinor, which would be the Sindar, aka mainly Thingol's people, that kind of group. They hunted and killed these petty dwarves until, for some unknown reason, they decided to leave them alone.
Oh my god!
Then the petty dwarves managed to find lands away from the Sindar in peace. But then when Fëanor brought the Noldor to Beleriand, they basically took over these lands.
I'm sorry. It's just so sad. Like, why did they?
Yeah, it's pretty sad. In fact, Meme specifically brings up Finrod Felagund as an example, our captain Beleriand, because apparently before the Noldor had come to Beleriand, these petty dwarves had discovered the caves and even started the tunneling of Nargothrond that Finrod later built his kingdom in. But I was thinking about this. So the reason Finrod got that cave is because King Thingol suggested it to him. King Thingol probably knew about these petty dwarves because it was his people that were hunting and slaughtering them. So if you knew that these petty dwarves are in this cave system and you wanted them gone, why not give it to your friend Finrod and get, two birds, one stone? Finrod gets his cave kingdom and you get rid of these petty dwarves.
No, that's so sad.
Yeah.
He is getting strikes again. He was doing good for a while and now he's going back. Yep. He's getting some demerits here.
Yep. So after these petty dwarves were driven out of Nargothrond, they found Amon Rud, the hill that they're in right now, which happened to be pretty close by. And I'll post a map later, but if you imagine you have Doriath on the east, You have the Forest of Brethel to the north, Nargothrond to the south. Amanrud is kind of in the middle of that triangle.
Okay.
So they weren't driven away too far. Quote, and beneath the crown of Amanrud, the slow hands of the petty dwarves had bored and deepened the caves through the long years that they dwelt there, untroubled by the gray elves of the woods. But unfortunately, whether it was from being hunted for so long, whether they were forced...
Trauma.
Trauma. They were forced to live so isolated. History has shown that cultures that band together thrive better as a civilization, or just from pure bad luck. These petty dwarfs, Mime and his two sons, they are the last of their kind.
Oh, no.
And Mime wasn't going to last much longer because he was old, even for a dwarf.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's
kind of a sad story there. So while Turin was learning all of this from Mime, winter happened to come to Beleriand, and apparently it was a particularly bad winter. Quote, snow came down from the north heavier than they had known it, and Amanrud was covered deep. And they said that the winters worsened in Beleriand as the power of Angband grew. Then only the hardiest dare stir abroad, and some fell sick, and all were pinched with hunger.
Oh no.
So Turin and his wolfmen... and these petty dwarves are essentially snowed in their cave, and they don't have any means of getting more food. Until one day, quote, there appeared suddenly among them a man, as it seemed, of great bulk and girth, cloaked and hooded in white, and he walked up to the fire without a word, and when men sprang up in fear, he laughed and threw back his hood. And beneath his wide cloak, he bore a great pack. And in the light of the fire, Turin looked again on the face of...
Santa.
That's actually, yeah, it could have been. Maybe it was. If this was a C.S. Lewis, it would be Father Christmas.
Yeah.
It was Beleg.
That's what I was gonna say.
I know. I like the same idea, though. He found him, friends reunited, and he even brought Turin a present. He is like Santa.
Yeah.
Beleg brought Turin his dragon helm.
He carried that thing that whole way.
I know. Quote, thinking that it might lift Turin's thought again above his life in the wilderness as the leader of a petty company. Maybe this will inspire him to come back.
Yeah. Sorry if you heard that, but there are birds just going crazy outside. Sorry. Anyway.
Oh.
So he carried that heavy helmet and then he's like, will this make you come back?
Yes. But still, Turin's like, I can't. I'm a murderer.
Yeah. Are they like Flynn Rider and the bandits from Tangled?
I'm about to make a similarity here later that I think is much more on point.
Okay, but in my brain, they might not be personality-wise, but what they look like
is the ruffians.
Those guys. Yeah.
Okay.
From Tangled.
Okay. Point, and then I'm going to counterpoint you in a minute. Okay, so Turin still won't return to Menegroth with Beleg, even despite this awesome gift. Quote, and Beleg, yielding to his love against his wisdom, remained with him and did not depart. And in that time, he labored much for the good of Turin's company. So Beleg stays, and he actually becomes a sort of den mother to these wolfmen that I'm sure he saw more like lost boys.
Yeah. He's like, who didn't pick up their dishes? Like, come on, guys. Let's keep this cave clean, okay?
So Beleg, he, even tends to the wounded. He even gives them some of Melian's lembas, which seem to heal them more quickly. And he even gains the respect of these wolfmen, with his strength, his endurance, and with his super elf vision. They're like, dude, this guy's awesome. He can see for miles.
Yeah.
There is one problem, however.
Oh, no. Of course there is.
Mime
doesn't like elves.
Is not happy. Doesn't like elves, especially Sindar elves, which is what Beleg is. Beleg, I'm sure it wasn't the one who was hunting down. It might have been like his grandpa or father, but he's still of the race that had hunted and killed his ancestors. And here he is just mooching off of his cool digs, probably, putting his feet up on the table and stealing the last soda or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That had my name on it. You know that.
So, meanwhile, all this is going on. You might have been wondering, what is our old buddy and overlord Morgoth up to?
Yeah, we haven't heard about him in a while.
Quote, with the long fingers of a groping hand, the forerunners of his armies probed the ways into Beleriand.
Creepy.
I just love that imagery. Fingers reaching out over a map and just,
This is mine now.
Yeah. So at this time, his armies had taken much of North Beleriand, and they were starting to make their way south until they reached what is known as the Guarded Plain. And this Guarded Plain is actually right in that kind of triangle area that I spoke about earlier. So again, Forest of Brethil to the north, Nargothrond to the south, Doriath on the east. Kind of in the middle of that triangle is the Guarded Plain, but also Amon-Rûd, the hill that they're living in. And the orcs did not want to go into this area. They would not go anywhere near it because, quote, for there dwelt now in the wild a terror that was hidden, and upon the red hill were watchful eyes of which they had not been warned. For Turin put on again the helm of Hodor, and far and wide in Beleriand the whisper went, under wood and over stream and through the passes of the hills, saying that the helm and bow had arisen beyond hope.
Ooh. So the orcs don't want to go there, but is it just Turin they're scared of, or is there something else that's out there?
So the helm and the bow, that's all that they're scared of. This secret hidden terror. The helm being Turin and the bow being Beleg, which I love the nickname, the helm and the bow. I just thought that was a cool.
Partners in crime. The helm and the bow. Gonna knock down some orcs. Let's do this.
So they actually started earning a reputation. They're striking fear in the orcs in that area. And they're also bringing hope to the men and elves that were scattered after the Battle of Unnumbered Tears. And they'd been without hope for so long, without a leader. And now they have the helm and the bow as their calling to arms. Quote, then many who went leaderless, dispossessed but undaunted, took heart again and came to seek the two captains.
Okay, so what's going to happen?
So Turin's going to get a name change, of course. I mean, it's time.
He's putting it into the generator. What is it going to be?
Okay. Are you ready?
The hot topic generator.
Okay, so we got the elf name first.
Wait, it was Nathan, and now it's
Gorthal.
Okay.
Yeah. Are you ready for the other name? The Dreadhelm.
Okay, but that's pretty cool, though.
Yeah.
That one's pretty cool.
But I kind of like this, and my inner English class is coming out in my mind. Before, when he's on his own, he's the wronged. But now he's got his best friend Beleg at his side. He's got a cause to fight for. Now it's not a sad name. It's an intimidating name. He feels confident. He feels strong. He's got a purpose.
Yeah.
Beleg is holding up to his word. He's bringing his life meaning.
It's better when you have a support group, around you, someone who will raise you up, bring you to a better standard.
And the wolfmen were just dragging him down, letting him coast. No, not challenging him as a person,
Yeah.
So now he's Gorthal, the Dreadhelm. Quote, in Menegroth and in the deep halls of Nargothrond and even in the hidden realm of Gondolin, the fame of the deeds of the two captains was heard. And in Angband also they were known. Then Morgoth laughed, for now by the Dragonhelm was Hurin's son revealed to him again, and ere long Amon-Rûd was ringed with spies.
Oh no!
So,
poor dwarves can't catch a break.
No. And, the helm is like a beacon to, inspire people, but it's also like pretty famous. Like, it's not the most like inconspicuous of fashion choices. It's literally the family heirloom of the House of Hodor. And, it's not too, hard to figure out who would be wearing it. So good and bad. Not that maybe the wisest choice if he wants to be this like hidden figure.
Mm-hmm.
You might as well have said like, by the way, my name's Turin,
He has a giant
on the back of it.
Hello, my name is tag on him.
So of course, Morgoth wants to stop Turin and Beleg. This is a show of rebellion. He needs to stomp out this spark before it gets any bigger. He's even frightening my orcs. And plus, I'm sure he wants to further taunt poor Hurin, who is just being forced to watch everything he does. He's like, watch this word, watch this. See what I'm going to do to your son right here? Watch this. This is the best part. Hold on. So
Can you see?
So he puts spies in the area of Amon-Rûd. And wouldn't you know, his spies actually do come across Mime and his son while they happen to be out of the cave one day.
Those poor dwarves, don't tell me they get morted.
No. Quote, then for a second time, Mime promised to guide his enemies by the secret paths to his home on Amon-Rûd. Like, if it worked for me once, maybe it'll work for me again. But yet, he sought to delay the fulfillment of his promise and demanded that Gorthal, remember that's Turin, should not be slain. Like, he is betraying them, but he's like, but can you just not kill that guy? I kind of like that one.
Yeah.
But I like that he's using his code name, though, his new name. Like, don't kill Gorthal. But then the orc captain laughed, and he said to Mime, assuredly, Turin of Hurin shall not be slain. Like, oh, I know who he is, and we're not going to kill him.
Pause for just a second. Is this the first instance of dwarves kind of like turning like to help orcs? Because I can't really think of any other dwarf that's like, yeah, they're selfish and they won't help the like other races like elves and men, but I haven't really heard of like instances where they go to orcs and are like, I will help you. I'm on your side.
We're gonna see that a bit later. I don't think anyone officially like, oh, it was all their fault. Like, we have a vendetta now against dwarves because of this one instance. This isn't the instance.
Okay.
So, the orcs come to the cave at night, catching Turin's wolfmen by surprise. And they actually kill a lot of them while they're asleep. However, some did manage to run to a passage leading onto the hilltop. Quote, okay. And there they fought until they fell, and their blood flowed out upon the Saragon that mantled the stone. Foreshadowing. So right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But a net was cast over Turin as he fought, and he was enmeshed in it and overcome and led away. And I don't know why this makes me laugh in my brain. Like, it's a sad moment, but like, literally like a butterfly net, like, ha ha!
I got you.
So, I don't know why that makes me laugh, but it does. So, Mime hadn't been there for any of this. He wasn't taking part in it. That's why I don't quite put the full blame on him. Mm-hmm. But now that the fighting is over, his side of the deal of the orcs is complete. He returns back to his home. He goes up to the hilltop, I'm sure, seeing following the trail of dead bodies and blood. And he sees all of the men that had died there. However, there's one that isn't quite dead.
What is it? He's only
mostly dead. Quote, and he looked in the eyes of Beleg, the elf. Then, with hatred long stored, Mime stepped up to Beleg and drew forth the sword Anglicau that lay beneath the body of one that had fallen beside him. But Beleg, stumbling up, seized back the sword and thrust it at the dwarf. And Mime, in terror, fled, wailing from the hilltop. And Beleg cried after him, "The vengeance of the house of Hodor will find you yet!"
That little jerk.
Yeah. So yes, you feel bad for me, but also like, dude,
Yeah.
I'm sure he would have shared his lembas with you if you would have asked.
Yeah.
So Beleg had been wounded in the fight with the orcs. That's why he kind of appeared dead. But luckily, he was a master of healing, and his strength slowly returned. And when he felt strong enough again, he got up and he began to search for Turin among the dead. But he couldn't find him, which meant only one thing. He had been taken to Angband.
In a net. In a giant
net. Yes.
He's like, come on, I just lost him again.
We were just opening up to each other again. I just felt like the wall was coming down.
He's like, I have been searching for years and I finally got here and he's gone again.
Yes.
I give up. I'm going back.
Yep. But I don't think he's going to let that happen because we're going to find out next week, because this is where I'm going to leave you for the week.
No!
What happens next?
Oh, man. Poor Beleg. He's like, are you joking me? Really? Really? I do all this stuff and he's gone again?
Mm-hmm. Like, I even looked after his buddies. You know how hard that was for me? They're disgusting.
Yeah. It's been so gross in here. It's so bad. So that's interesting. I don't think I've ever really heard a story about a dwarf like that.
Yeah.
Because
or of elves literally hunting and killing a race like that. Yeah.
Yikes.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Yeah. Different side of the coin here. Mm-mm.
So is Meme the only one left, or is his other son still alive?
I think the sons are alive still. It doesn't quite say what happens to them. I was trying to look into that. I don't think we hear about them, at least for a little while. It might be different in that Children of Hurin book. I don't know. But as far as this chapter goes, I think we're done with them.
Well, they turned out to be jerks anyway.
Yeah. Plus, they don't got no women to breed anyway, so they're going to die eventually. So,
I know, sad.
Sad. But make sure to follow us on Instagram at Sisters of the Shire Podcast. We've been getting a lot of comments and things lately. I love it. We're also almost up to 3,000 plays. Almost. We're so freaking close.
Whoa.
Yes. And then we got a new country.
What? Okay. I get to guess the continent.
Yep. You guess.
Europe.
Nope.
Dang it. Asia?
Nope.
South America.
Nope.
What? Okay, you can tell me now.
Africa.
Whoa. What?
Yeah, apparently, and I'm going to probably say it wrong, so I apologize. Namibia?
Oh.
Namibia.
Interesting.
Namibia. However you say it. It's, I did a little Googling because I'm like, I've never heard of that country. It's in Southwest Africa. And apparently it's known for the highest sand dunes in the world. And it's known for having lots of cheetahs, which I think is cool.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Welcome.
Yay. We're so glad you're here.
Yeah. Oh, and Belgium went up 1%. I knew you could do it, Belgium. I got faith in you.
You did it.
You did it. You're almost. You gotta get Canada. You're so close. You need 1 more %, and you can beat them. Get them. Get them, Belgium.
This is the only time we'll allow countries to overthrow other countries. Okay, this is the only time we're allowing this.
Yeah.
So, thanks for teaching me today.
You are welcome. I hope you enjoyed this dark tale today.
I know. I mean, it fits in with all the snowy winteriness that we had. And I did start to feel like, because we couldn't go out really much. And so I'm like, who are we going to eat first, huh? This is how it goes. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
It wasn't that bad, but like I said, I just is interesting to me. I've never heard that kind of elf and dwarf side before. So
yeah, the petty dwarves.
I know, such a sad name. Why do the elves get cool names, but then the men and the dwarves get
I don't know.
The sad nicknames.
They get the shaft.
They're really sad.
They get the shaft.
Yeah. Anyway, well, it's coming up into spring. I can feel it. I already have.
Come on, Yvonne.
Tulips and daffodils that are coming up, and I can just feel the sun just trying to come back. So I hope all of you out there who are still in winter, I hope you get some sunshine soon. And those who are in summer right now, because you're on that side of the world, I hope you're appreciating it. We're freezing our butts off over here. And rate and review on our...
Please rate and review. One person reviewed us on Spotify recently. Thank you for that. I do keep track.
Whoever you are, this is your personal shout out. You're amazing, and we love you.
Go you.
Yes. And we have episodes every Tuesday, and we love when you talk to us on Instagram, and we also do collab episodes with our friends Brian from TV Trivia Pod that we've been on there a few times. Go check out his awesome podcast. And then we also do collab episodes with our friend Albert at he has so many. What is the one?
The Topic Podcast Network.
Yes, but we're on which one? Which one do we appear on?
The Lord of the Rings podcast.
Okay, that one. But if he's into all different fandoms, so if you want to click on any of those and check any of those ones out, that'd be fun for him. So like we said before, please rate and review. It helps us so much. It's free for you to do, and it takes like less than 5 minutes. You can do it, and it will help us out, and then you'll feel good about helping us out. It's a
30
win-win.
seconds.
It's a win-win. We love you. Have a great rest of your week, and we'll see you next time.
Until next week, I've been Ashley.
And I'm Abby. Bye.
Bye.